This is Jonathan Cahn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. When you look at what's happening in the world, it's easy to wonder what's going on, and are things out of control? Is this what the Bible foretold? Is the end near? What do I need to know about the future? Where's it all going? How can I be prepared? What is God's prophetic word for the hour and for me? On this channel, you're going to find prophetic updates, the mysteries of God, daily words for life, biblical revelation, prophetic teachings, and much more. I pray it's going to be a great blessing to you in the days ahead. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time there's a new video that's posted. Leave a comment as to how God is blessing you. And don't forget to share these videos with friends who need to hear them. Thanks again, and God bless you. Shalom.
There comes a moment in time when heaven speaks, not with a whisper, but with a roar. A moment when God does not suggest, but commands attention. That moment is now. The world is trembling. Nations are shaking. Institutions are crumbling. And through it all, the voice of the Lord thunders, calling his chosen ones to rise. This is not a time of fear. It is a time of awakening. June 21, 2025 is not just a date, it's a divine appointment. For those who have ears to hear, the Spirit is declaring, the shaking has come. The shaking is not a sign of God's absence, but of his movement. When the earth trembles and the ground beneath the feet of the chosen ones begins to quake, it is not the enemy prevailing, but the hand of the Almighty stirring the world. God does not shake what is strong to destroy it. He shakes what is fragile to awaken what is eternal. Just as he shook Mount Sinai with fire and thunder to make his presence known to Israel, so too he is shaking lives, nations, and systems to announce that his purposes will not be ignored. The chosen ones must not mistake the shaking as a punishment, but as a divine alarm. An urgent trumpet sounding from heaven, calling them to attention. When things begin to fall apart around you, it is often because heaven is rearranging what has become too comfortable, too compromised, or too rooted in the things of the world. In the days of old, when Israel would stray, God would send prophets, not with soft words, but with thunderous proclamations. Those words often shook the pride of kings, the idols of the people, and the corruption within the temple. But the shaking was never the end. It was the beginning. It was mercy that moved God to shake them before judgment arrived. So it is today. The chosen ones are being called to wake up, not because God is angry, but because he is merciful. He desires that none should be lost, and he will do whatever it takes to snap his people out of slumber. Look at the world around you. The economies tremble, the politics falter, and the earth groans. These are not isolated events. They are the echoes of something deeper. The heavens are speaking. The Lord is shouting through the storm. And if his people will not listen in peace, then he will speak through the shaking. Every shaking is a form of divine mercy wrapped in urgency. It is a reminder that this world is not your anchor. And if you hold too tightly to what is shakeable, you will fall with it. For the chosen, the shaking is not your destruction, it is your deliverance. Like a tree in the wind, your roots must go deeper. Shaking exposes the depth of your roots. Are you rooted in your career, your comfort, your own understanding? Or are you rooted in the Word, in the Spirit, in the unchanging nature of God? When everything around you is uncertain, the only certainty is the rock that cannot be moved. The storm doesn't destroy the foundation, it reveals it. God is stripping away the illusions so that only the unshakable remains. When God shakes, he exposes. What has been hidden behind appearances, behind the veil of religion, behind traditions and customs that have long lost their fire, he reveals it all. The shaking uncovers what's real and what's fake. Just as in the days of Haggai, when the Lord declared, I will shake the heavens and the earth, and the desire of nations shall come. It is in the shaking that the true glory emerges. The chosen ones are being called to let go of the things that cannot stand in the storm. The idols must fall, the pride must crumble, and the false securities must be torn down so that what is true may be lifted up. There is a glory that only comes after the shaking. The fire of God does not fall on pretense. It falls on the altar of sacrifice. The chosen are being refined, and refinement is not a gentle process. It is a furnace, a fire, a storm. But what emerges from it is pure. That which is shaken and remains, this is what God will use in the days ahead. The world is looking for something that doesn't collapse under pressure, something that holds firm when everything else is in chaos. That is what the chosen are called to be. But before they can stand for the world, they must first be shaken by God. Only then will their witness be real, their words carry weight, and their faith hold power. The shaking also reveals loyalties. When pressure is applied, you see where people truly stand. Will you stand for truth when it costs you? Will you walk in holiness when the culture mocks you? Will you remain faithful when others fall away? These questions cannot be answered in times of peace. They are answered in the furnace. The shaking is the test of authenticity. It is the refining of the remnant. It is God removing the dross to reveal the gold. He is not content with surface-level commitment. He is after the heart, the whole heart. Even in personal lives, the shaking may come in the form of loss, betrayal, disappointment, or isolation. But do not misinterpret it. What feels like a breaking is often a realignment. What feels like an ending may be the beginning of something greater. The shaking causes you to loosen your grip on what God never meant for you to hold. It frees you from the prisons of comfort, fear, and routine. It forces you to look up, to cry out, to cling to the one who is greater than the storm. In the divine pattern, shaking always brings separation. Just as a farmer shakes the sieve to distinguish the wheat from the chaff, so the hand of God shakes the world to reveal what is true and what is counterfeit. The shaking does not create division. It reveals what was already there. In the shaking, alliances are tested, motivations are uncovered, and the hearts of men are laid bare. The chosen ones must not fear this divine separation, for it is not meant to harm them, but to sanctify them. The Lord is sifting his people, distinguishing the faithful from the faithless, the bold from the lukewarm, the consecrated from the compromise. In the time of shaking, many will fall away, not because they were shaken, but because they were never truly rooted. This is the hour of the remnant. It is no longer about how many follow, but who is truly following. The crowds once followed Jesus when he multiplied bread and healed the sick, but when he spoke of carrying the cross, many turned away. The shaking has always revealed the true disciples. It was in the Garden of Gethsemane, under pressure, that the disciples scattered. And it is now, in the garden of this present age, that the same separation is unfolding. Those who only follow Christ for comfort will fall away when discomfort comes. But those who follow him for truth, for righteousness, for the glory of his name, they will stand. Even within the house of God, there is a shaking. Ministries that were built on charisma instead of calling, popularity instead of purity, entertainment instead of anointing, these will crumble. God is removing the stage lights to reveal the altar. He is overturning the tables of performance to restore the place of prayer. The chosen must discern in this season. Not every voice that claims to speak for God carries his fire. Not every platform is built on the rock. The shaking is exposing the foundations, and only those who stand on truth will endure. There is also a personal separation. When God begins to shake your life, some relationships may be removed. Some opportunities may close. Some doors you prayed for may slam shut. But in the realm of the Spirit, every loss that comes from obedience is a gain in disguise. God is not subtracting to hurt you. He is subtracting to refine you. Just as Gideon's army was reduced to a remnant before the victory, so too are the chosen being trimmed, tested, and prepared. The victory belongs not to the multitude, but to the pure, the bold, and the surrendered. What comes after separation is preparation. The shaking is not just a pruning, it is a prelude. Before God brings glory, he brings cleansing. Before he sends power, he demands purity. The fourth key is this: The shaking prepares the vessel for glory. God does not pour new wine into old wineskins. He does not entrust holy fire to impure altars. The chosen are being prepared for a move of God that will shake nations, but first they must allow Him to shake them. The fire cannot fall on a divided heart. The glory cannot rest where there is mixture. So God shakes. He strips and He sanctifies. Think of Moses. Before he could stand before Pharaoh, he had to be shaken by the wilderness. Before Isaiah could prophesy to kings, he had to be undone by the holiness of God. Before the disciples turned the world upside down, they were shaken by persecution, shaken by the cross, and shaken by the empty tomb. The pattern has not changed. The shaking precedes the sending. If you are being shaken, it is because you are being prepared. This preparation may not look glorious. It may feel like breaking. It may be marked by hiddenness, by loneliness, by long nights of crying out to God. But it is in these hidden places that the vessels are formed. The oil is pressed in Gethsemane. The strength is forged in obscurity. The authority comes not from titles, but from tears. God is looking for those who have been through the fire and emerged with no agenda but His. Do not despise the process. The potter must break the flawed jar to remold it. The gold must be melted to be refined. The tree must be pruned to bear more fruit. And so it is with the chosen. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Every tear you shed in private will water the seeds of revival. Every moment of pain is shaping your mantle. The greater the shaking, the greater the glory to come. This generation is on the verge of something unprecedented. But God will not share His glory with flesh. The vessels must be emptied of pride, of fear, of compromise. He is preparing carriers of His presence. Those who will not bend under pressure, those who will not bow to culture, those who have been set apart by fire. The preparation is not glamorous, but it is glorious. For when the shaking is complete, those who remain will not be the same. They will be anointed, appointed, and ready to walk in the power and presence of the Most High. When God allows a shaking, it is never random. Every divine shaking carries with it a purpose, a redirection, a holy realignment. The fifth key to understand is this: the shaking brings realignment. It removes what is out of place and repositions the chosen into divine order. In a world where many have drifted, where priorities have become skewed, and where even the people of God have sometimes chased comfort over calling, the shaking becomes a tool in the hands of the Master to bring everything back to where it should be. What is not centered on His will must fall. What has taken the place of God must be dethroned. What was once a divine assignment but became an idol must be surrendered. Realignment is not always comfortable, but it is necessary for those who have been marked for purpose. The chosen ones cannot move forward with divided hearts or distracted minds. When the storm comes, it exposes what we truly depend on. In seasons of shaking, God begins to reposition people out of unhealthy alignments and into divine ones. Some relationships end, not because of failure, but because they were seasonal. Some doors close, not as a punishment, but as protection. There are moments when God says no because His yes is on a different path. The shaking forces us to let go of the things that no longer fit the calling. God is bringing His people into alignment with His timing, His mission, and His holiness. Realignment may look like disruption, but in heaven's economy, it is an act of mercy. When Jonah ran in the wrong direction, it was the storm that realigned his course. The belly of the fish was not a place of defeat, but a place of redirection. Many of the chosen are in uncomfortable places, not because they've failed, but because they're being rerouted. God is interrupting patterns, dismantling old systems, and making space for something greater. He is repositioning hearts, resetting priorities, and restoring vision. The idols of busyness, approval, and ambition are being toppled so that worship, obedience, and surrender can be restored. This realignment is also generational. God is shifting the church, the remnant, the voice of the chosen, away from man-made structures and back to the foundations of prayer, purity, and power. He is raising up those who have no interest in performance, but burn with the fire of intercession. Those who care more about being right with God than being relevant to man. This is the hour of divine course correction, and those who submit to it will find themselves in the center of the move of God that is coming. All of this leads to the sixth key. The shaking is a call to stand. It is not merely about surviving, it is about rising. The shaking is heaven's trumpet, calling the chosen to take their place, not to hide, not to blend in, but to stand. Stand for righteousness when the world mocks it. Stand for truth when lies are celebrated. Stand for holiness when compromise is applauded. This is not the hour for passive faith. It is the hour for bold obedience. When the dust settles from the shaking, the ones who remain will be those who stood firm on the word, unshaken by the shifting tides of culture. Throughout Scripture, God has always called his people to stand in the midst of shaking. Think of Daniel, standing in Babylon, refusing to defile himself. Think of Esther, standing in the palace, risking her life to save her people. Think of Elijah, standing alone on Mount Carmel against the prophets of Baal. None of them were chosen because they were perfect. They were chosen because they stood. God is not looking for brilliance, but for bravery. Not for the most popular, but for the most obedient. The shaking is separating spectators from warriors. To stand in this hour requires consecration. It requires deep roots. It requires a commitment to truth even when it costs. It means turning away from the applause of man and tuning your ear to the voice of heaven. It may mean walking alone, misunderstood and misrepresented. But the one who stands not in their own strength, but clothed in the armor of God. When all else is shaken, their feet remain planted on the rock. Standing does not mean shouting louder. It means living deeper. It means your life becomes a testimony. It means you speak when God says speak and remain silent when he says be still. The standing ones are not loud for show. They are bold in the spirit. They are not seeking platforms, they are seeking altars. These are the ones God will use in the days ahead. Those who have been shaken but not destroyed, tested but not compromised. In this final hour, the Spirit is calling the chosen to rise, not later but now, to be watchmen on the wall, intercessors in the night, carriers of the fire. The world is desperate for something unshakable. The enemy is loud, but he is not victorious. The time has come for the chosen to rise from the ashes, clothed in the authority of heaven, and declare with their lives that though the earth shakes, their faith will not. They have been realigned, they have been prepared, and now they will stand. So now, beloved, the shaking has come, not to destroy you, but to awaken you. You have been stirred, sifted, refined, and called. The noise of the world may grow louder, the storms may rage fiercer, but you were not made to be moved by them. You were made to rise. This is your moment. Not to shrink back, not to waver, but to take your place among the chosen. Let everything that can be shaken fall away, so only the unshakable remains in you. Stand, walk in holiness, burn with his fire, and let the glory of the unshaken kingdom be revealed in your life. For in this shaking, God is not ending something. He is beginning something through you.